Hi, everybody. It's John Rindy from the Career Education and Development Office over in Bailey Library here at Slippery Rock University. And this is part of the SEA Academy Digital Masterclass. This particular course, we're going to talk about cover letters. What the heck are they? When should you write them? Well, here on the screen, I have called up an example cover letter, and we're going to go through them, but let me just talk about the 3 or 4 times you might use a cover letter. First of all, when you are applying for a job online on a company website and it says, please upload your resume and a cover letter. Cover letter introduces your resume. It doesn't say the same things as your resume, but that would be one time you're always going to write a cover letter. Another time is when you're applying on a company website and it says that a cover letter is optional. Always, always, always. Did I mention always? Always write a cover letter. And that gives you an opportunity to say more of the key skills, knowledge, abilities, experiences that it's asking for in the job description. Because remember, if you watch the video on resumes, we know that most resumes today are read by computer systems called applicant tracking systems. It's looking for the keywords from the job description, particularly the knowledge, the skills, the abilities, and experiences that are listed, usually in bullet point form, in that job description. The more times you mention those words, the higher score you're going to get on your cover letter and your resume. So even if it's optional, you should always add a cover letter. Now, there are 2 other times you may write a cover letter. One would be somebody says, hey, email me your resume. Well, then you should do a cover letter in the body of the email, but it should be very, very short. So in other words, if the person has to scroll to read it, you've gotten too long. So when you look at this letter, there's no way this letter would fit into just that body of the email without scrolling. So you have to learn to write something that's more succinct and then attach your resume. Now, the last time I'll mention is when you're applying for an internship, and it's an internship that we often have with a company at Slippery Rock, but there's no job description whatsoever. And in those cases, it's more of what I would call a letter of interest, letting the person who hires the intern at the company know that you're interested in the position, why you're interested in the position, and what skills you bring to the table that make you the person that they should choose. So that's kind of a slight difference between a cover letter and a letter of interest, only a slight difference that would be very similar. So let's go through this example cover letter and talk about it briefly, and then you can always make an appointment in the career office by stopping by 108 Bailey Library or calling 724-738-2028, 724-738-2028, or you can also go onto your Handshake app or your Handshake desktop at sru.edu/handshake, and you can schedule an appointment that way as well. Okay, so let's go through this letter. First of all, the heading in your cover letter should match exactly the heading in your resume. So a career coach can help you duplicate that and copy it so that it's exactly the same. And notice that we are using capital P, capital A. Do not use capital P, lowercase a. That went out in 1972 or 3 when we switched to postal codes. So that's not an abbreviation, it's a postal code. You don't need a period after it. Yeah, most current phone number, the one that you're going to answer all the time. And of course, if you're a junior or later, we recommend that you do not use your Slippery Rock email because you're going to lose it soon. Okay, the next section, hiring manager. Notice how this says hiring manager. This is if you don't know who you're sending it to. A lot of times you're applying to a company, but it doesn't give you the name of a person. Now, if I were the person, let's say you're sending it to Slippery Rock and you know that it's going to be, it would say Dr. John Rindy. And then my title, Director of Career Education and Development, Slippery Rock University, 1 mile away, 108 Bailey Library, or 104 Central Loop, 108 Bailey Library, and so on and so forth. In this case, we don't know who we're sending it to, so we just use the general term hiring manager. Because ultimately, if you make it through applicant tracking systems, if you make it past the recruiter who's going to read the resume, if you make it through the applicant tracking system, eventually this will go to a hiring manager, and that's how you want to address them. All right? Never, by the way, down here, we're going to say, you can say, dear hiring manager, right? You can say, dear hiring manager, or you can say, if it was to me, dear Dr. Rindy, never put the person's first name in there. Let me repeat. I see a lot of young people doing this, where they'll say, "Dear Ms. Mary Smith." No, don't put the person's first name in there. Dear Ms. period Smith. Don't use Mrs. Don't use Miss. Use Ms. M.S. period Smith. And then for a formal letter, you're going to put a colon after it. Dear Dr. Rindy, colon. If it's an informal letter, somebody you know, you can use a comma. But for formal letters, use a colon. Next paragraph. So the first paragraph in a cover letter introduces your letter. It tells about where you learned about the position, and then it gives them one darn good reason why they should keep reading. Now, in this particular example, we thank them. Thank you for accepting my resume as application for the position of whatever. Don't thank them again. So never close your letter with thank you. Thank you is not a closing. Sincerely, best regards, kindly, most sincerely, but not thank you. Once you thank somebody once, you don't thank them a second time because that makes it disingenuous. So open with thank you for accepting my resume as application for the position of blah, blah. I learned about the position on the PNC Bank website. That way you're helping that talent acquisition specialist know where they're getting good applicants from, whether it's from Indeed or Career Builder or from their website or wherever. This is also a good place to mention someone's name, especially if you know that the reader knows that person. I learned about the position from Dr. Katrina Quinn in our communication department, knowing that Dr. Quinn knows that person, so you dropped a name. Now here's where you drop that one line that makes them get excited about continuing to read. It says, I know your company, I know the position, I read the description, and after reviewing it all, I would be well suited for this role because of, and then given evidence of why. Notice we did not say, I believe I would be well suited for this role. I think I'd be well suited for this role. I feel I would be well suited. No, I am certain that I would be well suited for this role, or just say, I would be well suited for this role. Okay, so that's an introduction, and then hopefully they keep on reading. All right, here we go. Now your major paragraph is, this is where you're saying why you're a good fit for the job. This is why you're a good fit for the job. The next paragraph is why you're a good fit for the company, which means you better read up on the company a little bit and understand their mission, vision, values, products, services, who they serve, clients, their history, some recent articles about them so you can talk about them. But in this particular paragraph, you're basically saying, here's why I'm a good fit for the job. What I need you to do, though, is read that job description. What I usually teach people to do is take a piece of paper, get a piece of paper here, and draw a line down the middle, like a letter T, and write resume on one side and CL, cover letter, on the other. And you're going to see it backward, but that's okay. As I'm going through the job description, I'm looking at the skills, knowledge, and abilities that they're looking for. And then I'll decide, am I addressing it in the resume or do I want to address it in the cover letter? You can address it, the skills in both places, but don't be repeating stuff in the cover letter that's in your resume. You don't want to keep saying, as you see in my resume, I worked at Slippery Rock University. As you see in my resume, I did an internship at so-and-so. As you see in my resume, that's foolish. You're saying the same stuff. Why should they even bother to read the resume? So if a resume is a place to say great things about yourself, a cover letter is a place to say more and different great things about yourself. Get all of those keywords in there. If you can mention them twice, that's great. So you want to get those in there. And also, you can also use the NACE top skills. So just Google NACE top skills 2020 or 2019, and you can see the most commonly requested transferable skills. And so in this paragraph, you can be weaving in that you show attention to detail and then give evidence of that you have strong interpersonal skills and give a little evidence of that. Not the same evidence you have in the resume. Give more than one story on all this stuff. Now that shows that you're technically qualified for the position. Remember, nobody's going to call you for an interview if you're not technically qualified for the position. Here's the other half of getting hired, everybody. Why will we like working with you? And this paragraph is all about, I did some research, I learned a little bit about your company, and here's why you're going to like working with me. So what it says over here in the call out is, here's why you say you're a good match for the company, for the team, for their mission, their vision, their values, which means you got to go read that stuff and then comment on Well, here's why I'm a good fit. Here's why you're going to like sitting next to me 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Now, finally, we're going to close our cover letter with asking for the interview. You know how many cover letters I read that nobody asks for the interview? I would appreciate an opportunity to visit your office and interview for this position. Ask for the interview. And I can be reached at these locations. Now, some people, if they're particularly assertive, might say, I appreciate your consideration and will remain in touch in the coming days to ascertain the status of my application. Now, don't say that. Don't say that if you don't have any means of contacting the person who's doing the hiring. And so you say you're going to follow up, and then you don't because you don't have a contact. So don't say that unless you have a contact. But for things like sales positions and marketing positions, it's good to show that business assertiveness. Hey, I'm going to follow up. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to follow up. That shows how you're going to be when they hire you. And then finally, you can close with sincerely, kind regards, respectfully, leave a space for your signature, and then you can put your name down here. You can also type your name in there, and then just turn this into like a free script or something like that to make it look like you signed it. You can also, some people will import, well, I don't use that one, but anyway, like freestyle is a good one. If I can find it, there it is. And then make it look, oh, that's not freestyle. Seriously, I'm having a hard time with this today. Freestyle, where is it? There we go, freestyle script, looks a lot like a signature, make it a little bit bigger, and there you go. Some people will actually import a picture or a JPEG of their signature in there. The only thing about that then is you have to save it as a PDF because you don't want somebody to get a hold of your signature that you've uploaded. And I don't recommend uploading cover letters and resumes as PDFs because often they can't be scored by applicant tracking systems. So in any case, when they ask for a cover letter, you're going to write one. When they suggest a cover letter or make it optional, you're going to write one. When you're sending your emailed resume to someone, use the body to write a very shortened cover letter with these types of ingredients in it. And then finally, if you're applying for an internship where there's no job description, you just have a name of a person and you're going to send them your resume, you can do that, but just make sure that you write a letter of interest that has some of these characteristics, but in that last paragraph, or up in your first paragraph, express interest in the internship that they have hosted for many years with Slippery Rock, and then the rest of the letter is very similar. In any case, thanks for attending this class with the SEA. It's your future. Take charge.